education and empowerment. And I'm super excited to have a new guest. She has been on our call before. Her name is Fran Watson, and I'm going to do her introduction. She sent me a bio, so I'm going to be doing double duty today as a Toastmaster member, fellow member. I'm going to go ahead and try this. So let's try this. This is a new way of doing my introductions, which is reading from her introduction. Fran Watson is our speaker today at Entrepreneurs of Port Credit. We're super thrilled. I'm super excited to hear what she has to say. She has been a member of the Pembroke Toastmasters Club since the fall of 2002. Since that time, she chartered Renfrew Toastmasters Club and was the club coach for the Deep River Toastmasters Club. She also was a charter member of the Valley Vintage Advanced Toastmasters Club. Fran earned her DTM, not an easy thing to do, which is the Distinguished Toastmasters Award in 2008. She has continued to earn her educational award every year. Not an easy thing to do. She started in the Legacy program and is now working on the new educational program known as Pathways. Fran held every executive role many times and has been the area governor 3 times. She also had 1 term in the district public relations officer. She has written several articles for the Renfrew newspaper over the years and has also written some of the North Renfrew Times. Today, Fran is going to talk about her journey through Toastmasters and why she thinks it is an organization that everyone should become a part of. Please help me welcome virtually our very special guest, Fran Watson, and she's speaking today on why Toastmasters. Over to you, Fran.
Thank you very much, Tracy. And thank you all of you for inviting me to join your group. I actually found it very interesting the last time I was here as well, and it was really interesting to hear everybody and what you're doing. And I posted that I am also an entrepreneur. I semi-retired in 2011 and I work from home doing career counseling. So my kitchen table is my office. Today I'm going to talk about Toastmasters. Almost everybody has heard about Toastmasters more than once before they ever step in the door. Sometimes people have heard it several times. Some as long as 20 years before they actually walked in the door as one of our members in the Renfrew Toastmasters. And I myself had heard about it about 10 years before I ever started. And I didn't come into Toastmasters directly. In 2000, when I was starting a new job, I actually was looking up some information online about public speaking, and I came across a person by the name of Tom Antian, and I purchased one of his products. And I noticed that he was going to be speaking in Toronto at a Canadian Association of Public Speakers conference. And I thought, that's not too far away. Maybe I'll go and check him out. And so I did. I went down to the conference and it was amazing. The speakers, the authors that I met there were phenomenal. And they were so willing to give and to share with anybody who was there. So I joined CAPS in Ottawa. And I was there for 2 years. And I learned a lot. But one of the things I heard all the time, the people that were there were actually making a living at speaking. And I kept hearing about Toastmasters. Toastmasters is the place to go. Toastmasters is where you should start. Toastmasters is where you develop your basic skills. And so I thought, well, maybe I should check out Toastmasters. And that's when, because I was working in Pembroke, I went to the Pembroke Toastmasters Club. That's my beginning. And what I learned is Toastmasters is an organization to help you develop communication and leadership skills. A lot of people have the idea that Toastmasters, oh man, that's the place where you go if you're a good speaker. And that was the feeling I had initially as well. I'm not a good speaker. My skills aren't at that level. I couldn't go and speak at Toastmasters. And that's what held me back for a long time. But people often will say, well, I don't need Toastmasters. I can talk. But there's a big difference between talking and communicating. Communicating is actually listening to what's being said, processing it, and then taking the next step to respond. It's not just waiting for that person to finish speaking so you can say what you want to say. And that's a huge difference. Now in the legacy program, which is where I started, there were 10 speeches in the Competent Communicator program. And the very first one, which is still the same in Pathways, is Icebreaker. And it's just basically like what you've done here today is a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your business, what you would like people to know about you. That's the beginning of every Toastmasters journey, is an icebreaker. Because some people are coming in with some skills and other people are coming in with their knees knocking and their voice is shaking when they come into Toastmasters. So it's important that everybody start at the same place with an icebreaker. The two speeches that really drew me in were organize your speech and get to the point. Because I was already a presenter, I was comfortable in spending an hour to 2 hours giving a presentation, but a 5 to 7 minute speech, you had to compose what you wanted in that really short amount of time and say everything that you wanted to say, which is not possible to say everything, but you had to make sure you didn't miss anything. In a presentation, if you miss something, no problem. You just say, oh, by the way, I missed this, and you go back. But in a speech, you can't do that. When you miss it, you missed it. And most of the time, it doesn't matter. Most of the time, nobody knows you missed the point. You're the only one that's going to beat yourself up afterwards. Go, oh my gosh, I missed that. I should have said this. I should have said that. It doesn't matter. You're the only one that knows that. But in the program, each speech built on what you had done before. So the next speeches were how to say it, your body speaks, vocal variety, how to use your voice, researching your topic, getting comfortable with visual aids, persuading with power, and for the final one, the final speech that you were giving in your icebreaker, in your Competent Communicator, you compiled all of that to give and inspire your audience speech. Now, one of the other things that I learned in Toastmasters is having fun, because learning when you're having fun is much easier than if you're just plodding along and it's really boring and you don't really want, because I listened to some of those lecturers when I was studying my university degree. I'm so thankful Toastmasters is better than that. Now, the new Pathways program, it incorporates all those aspects as well, but it does it differently. They've designed it to be more helpful to people in their business and their personal lives. So they actually have 11 different paths that you can work on. They have, I'm going to read them because I don't know them all off by heart right now. Presentation mastery, effective coaching, dynamic leadership, innovative planning, motivational strategies, strategic relationships, team collaboration, engaging humor, visionary communication, persuasive influence, and leadership development. All things that we all can use in some part of our business or personal lives. Now, some people do join Toastmasters because they want to be a public speaker. For instance, Travis, who was on your 2 months ago, I guess, when Travis was here, that's his goal. He wants to be a public speaker. He wants to be out in the community speaking. But a lot of people join just because they want to develop communication skills to build better relationships, maybe to be able to speak up in a meeting. When your boss comes and says, Tracy, could you just give us a quick wrap up of what you were working on? And Tracy goes, but if Tracy's doing table topics at Toastmasters, then Tracy's going to be all right. And that's one of the reasons why we have table topics every meeting, because table topics gives you that opportunity to collect your thoughts really quickly with only a few seconds and be able to give a 1 to 2 minute talk. And it encourages creativity. Table topics is one of the things that you do not have to be truthful about when you do table topics. So it really allows you to let your imagination flow as well. And it's one of the fun parts of a meeting. But Toastmasters is not all about speaking. Toastmasters is also about leadership. And during the meeting, there are a lot of roles to be filled. There's quiz master, table topics master, Toastmaster, general evaluator, word of the week, toast, joker story, speech evaluator. So there's a number of different roles in a meeting. And each role is designed to build some skills. One of the first easier roles that someone might be given is that of quiz master. And that's the person who writes down things that happened during the meeting. And then at the end of the meeting, checks to see how many people were paying attention. So if you had somebody here writing down a few questions during the meeting and then at the end said, okay, who said this? Who said that? You'd find out how many people were actually paying attention during the meeting. Hopefully everybody. But 80% of a Toastmasters meeting is actually listening. Only one person can speak at a time. And that's what we had people come to our meetings thinking that we were going to be drinking and just having general chit chat. They were quite surprised when they found how detailed the meeting is, and that it is timed. It's timeline. And you probably can't see this one, though it doesn't show with my background. But the meeting is timed to say this will take this much time, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, all the way through. And so there is a timer who keeps track of all that and reports at the end of the meeting. Just like when Tracy holds up the red card to say your time is up. That's what we have. Is my time up already, Tracy?
No, it was just showing you.
All right, just checking. So those are roles that people take on. And that's the first step towards leadership. When you think about it, it's taking on a new challenge, basically. So quizmaster first, then maybe grammarian, maybe table topics master, maybe doing the toast, the word of the week, the joker story. Each step will lead to maybe finally taking on Toastmaster and leading the whole meeting, or the general evaluator, where you help work through all the evaluations, what went well, what can be improved upon. And there always should be points to improve upon, because we don't grow unless we know how we need to grow, where we can become better, what are some of the things to work on. Now, once you've taken on those roles, the next step is the executive roles. And the executive roles are the president, the vice president of education, vice president of membership, vice president of public relations, secretary, treasurer, and sergeant at arms. And like any club, the executive is key to keeping the club running. And if you have a good executive, then everything's going to run well. There will be exciting meetings, people will be interested in coming out to them, and everything will go really well. Once you've taken that step and maybe been on the executive for a little while, the next step is maybe moving up to the area director. Now, an area director basically has 5 or 6 clubs to look after. So in our area, we have Arnprior, Renfrew, Pembroke, Deep River, Chalk River. So the area director helps the club, supports them, is there to provide any information or knowledge or anything that they need. The next step is a division director. And the division director actually is mentoring and monitoring all of the area directors in their area, which may be from 5 to 10 areas in their division. Then the next step after that, if you want to continue on, is actually moving into the district level, where you can be the district director, the club growth director, or the educational director, or the club or the district public relations manager, which I took on 1 year. Huge role. 1 year was enough. Didn't take it on again. But it is something that anybody who wants to can walk up that leadership ladder, can take those steps. And as I said, I've been 3 times the area director. Our current area director is his 4th year of doing the area director. It is a role where you learn a lot, because you need to know, not everything, but you need to know most things so you have the answers for the clubs when they come to you. So as you can see, it's definitely more than just public speaking, which is where people kind of get stuck. It's about communication, it's about leadership, and it's definitely about having fun, because if you're not having fun, there is no point in coming out to the meeting as far as I'm concerned. I enjoy having fun, and it's good if you just simply want to develop better personal and business relationships as well. So if you have any questions about Toastmasters, I'd be more than happy to answer them. And that's the end. Tracy.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I learned a lot, and I've been with Toastmasters for 21 years. I looked it up the other day, and I learned about half of what you said was all new to me. So that really proves to me I need to brush up on my own skills, but I have something I brought out of my Toastmasters closet just for you.
That was easy.
Props. I learned how to use props at the right time. So I'm going to pass this over in the interest of keeping on time for this meeting. I have to say thank you so much. It was such a pleasure. And I know people will be asking and talking about this for weeks to come. We're going to turn it over to Natty B to do some question and answer period. But I just, again, thank you for your time. I appreciate it very much, Fran.
Thank you so much, Fran. That was awesome. I always love hearing about Toastmasters. I know I wasn't on video there, but I was listening. So is there anybody with any questions? If you guys want to raise your hands. No one? Oh,
Michelin.
Michelin. Go ahead, Michelin.
Thank you, Fran. That was so interesting. I wanted to know, is Toastmasters online now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The majority of clubs right now are virtual, which means you can attend around the world. And a lot of people are doing that. A lot of people are taking advantage of the fact that they can go to meetings around the world and they check out something that works within their timeline. So people are going at 7 o'clock in the morning to a meeting that's 7 o'clock at night over in China or wherever. And so there are a lot of clubs that are meeting virtually now, which is good for not having to travel.
Exactly. And so would you have like a home base? You would register with one club?
You can register with one club and visit other clubs, but if you were going to be a member of the other club and going to be attending a lot of meetings, you would join that club as well.
Okay.
So, but you can visit a number of different clubs. You can visit usually 2 or 3 times. So if you just want to kind of check out some clubs and see, what are they doing? Are they doing something different? I'm waiting. My daughter's club in Taiwan actually is still meeting in person. If they were virtual, I would join her club just for fun, so I could see what she's doing.
Thank you, Fran. This is very interesting. I really enjoyed your talk today.
And you're more than welcome, all of you, to check out Pembroke Toastmasters. We're on Tuesday nights, and just go to Facebook and you can find us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Micheline, for the question. Next, I'm going to go to Karen Kelly.
Hi. I just have a little question, I guess, regarding how the format works for this, because so I did a Dale Carnegie course, which I think is very similar in the way that it's structured towards helping people with their leadership skills and then being able to overcome public speaking. And it was great, really helped me a lot. I still get a lot of jitters doing public speaking. But I just want to see if the difference between the two would be the Toastmasters tends to be more on a continual basis, I guess, whereas Dale Carnegie is you do it for 8 to 10 weeks straight, and then you're done, and then you just keep using it unless you want to be a coach. Would that be fair to say, and that there are some similarities in it, but Toastmasters is more of a continuation?
Yes, Toastmasters is cheaper. That's another point, because Toastmasters for a full year will only cost you about $150.
Wow.
For a full year.
That's great.
So that's coming every week to Toastmasters. And you get the opportunity to practice. I mean, oftentimes in smaller clubs, you can do a speech every week if you want to, or at least every other week. So you're continuing to practice your speaking skills all the time. And it runs year round. Some clubs will take a shorter time in the summer. They may do every other week instead of every week, but you can do it year round. So that is definitely one of the pieces, is that you have a much longer period of time to practice, and it's cheaper.
Yeah. Much cheaper. I was lucky enough that it was my company at the time that paid for this. But so then do you not have, like, you don't have to speak every week at it? You
No, I have to. It's up to you whether you speak or you don't speak. So each week there's opportunities for 1 or 2 speakers, 1 or 2 evaluators, and if only one person speaks, that's fine. And sometimes if there's nobody speaking in a smaller club, there might be a debate set up instead. So they might do something else that will utilize speaking skills. But you're encouraged. In bigger clubs, if there's 30 some people there, you may not speak every week. You may only get an opportunity once every 6 weeks to speak.
Oh, I see. Okay. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Karen. Okay, and then next we got Mike with a question.
Hi, Fran. Great hearing you talk. One thing you had mentioned at the beginning was about giving a speech and you having a 5-minute time frame and trying to stay in that time frame.
Mhm.
And just for me personally, whenever I've had to speak or prepare something, I always find it hard to reach that time limit. Whether it be 30 seconds or whatever, it just seems like a long time to me. What are things to overcome that?
If you're actually typing out your speech ahead of time, you can look at the word count on your speech and you sort of figure 125 to 150 words is a minute. So if you're wanting a 7-minute speech, then you have to have 800 words, maybe a little bit more for your speech. So if you're only going to speak for 2 minutes, then 300 words is okay. Write out. But sometimes one of the things about Toastmasters is it helps you in your mind actually feel what it's like to speak for 1 or 2 minutes or 5 to 7 minutes. You can almost feel that, okay, my 5 minutes are up, my 7 minutes are up. And I actually know one person who was so good at this, competed so often in contests and everything. She was in a contest one time where they made a mistake, and instead of timing for 2 to 3 minutes, they did 1 to 2. And when she saw the card come up, she thought, no, I should not be finished yet. I have this much more before I should see that card. And she called it, and she found out that they had been giving the wrong timing to all the other speakers, and it should have been 2 to 3 minutes, and they'd only done 1 to 2, which created a kerfuffle, and we had to deal with that. But you can, with practice, you can get to feel, what does 2 minutes feel like? What does 1 minute feel like? So you kind of know if you're going over or if you're close to the timing.
So that's similar to your internal clock. You just internally, you just get a automatic feel for how long. It's like guessing the time. It's like, right? And you just naturally know how long that is after a while.
Yeah, yeah, with practice.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all the questions. Guys, you guys are always great with coming up with questions. I love that. And thank you so much, Fran, for your talk. It was great. Like I said, I always love to hear about Toastmasters, and I think it's amazing that we can connect with the world there now.
Yeah.
Can
And
we
I
introduce Patricia Fraser now that she's on board with us?
Where is she?
She has to take her, Pat, take,
Go
yeah.
ahead, Patricia.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sue. I'm
welcome.
Patricia Fraser. I've been publishing print for the last 38 years, actually 39 now, and actually really working on becoming more involved digitally. So I have now launched my magazine online and looking to do more of that. Also ran a Perfect Wedding, a wedding magazine for 27 years, and for the first time didn't publish this year because I didn't even get all of them out last year. I got it out in February, attended all of the bridal shows in spring, and then, you know, the wedding industry is one of the industries that's been decimated by this lockdown. So yes, anyway, looking forward to a brighter future digitally.
Great.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you again.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you again. I missed those